portable gaming. When you think about portable gaming, probably the first thing you think about is the Switch, or the 3DS, or 99% of the time, just a Nintendo console, really. And while Nintendo's consoles are really good at doing what they're supposed to do, playing Nintendo games, they're not really good at playing retro games, even Nintendo's own games, as shown with the Switch's emulation. So I started looking around for some cheap budget emulators that you could find on Amazon, eBay, any of your little sites that you like to shop at. And I found two of them. They're both about $40 range. And I want to put them up against the Switch in terms of emulation performance and, just the amount of games and the quality of the product as a whole. Now, I don't have the Switch Online to compare the emulation to, but more or less we're just going to compare the games list, because the emulation on Switch Online is basically rock solid to the original consoles, but it's just really lackluster. So let's get this out of the way. So the two fun consoles that I picked up were the Powkiddy V90 and this guy, Game Player. It has a name, but I'll throw it up on screen, but doesn't have anything on the box. Currently, it's a showdown between Game Player and 64-bit Game, so I'm sure a lot of you are excited to see how this goes. So let's start with the Game Player. It strangely resembles a Switch Lite with the colors and the everything, even the wallpaper here. On the front, it says that it has recording, music, video, ebook, and game, 3.5-inch color screen game console. And it's trustworthy, look at that. Alright, and then there's just some more specs on the back saying that you can play Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, etc., IPS screen. Comes with a SD card, just basic stuff. But, yeah, so this is like $40 on Amazon. They're both $40, but, this one is on Amazon for sure. So getting in the box here. So I have had some time with these consoles already. I just, want to show you guys, like, the, original experience. So it has this weird autumn looking print in here, which is fine. And right off the bat, it's not great. It feels like a toy. It weighs nothing. And the thumbsticks, I'm not too sure how to explain this. They spin, but not like this. They spin. So whenever you're playing, they just kind of do like that. So, it's not great. It has a 3.5-inch screen, which is fine. It has some bumpers, which feel fine. D-pad and face buttons are actually okay. I don't like the sticks at all, although the sticks just, they do the same thing as the face buttons. And it comes with, let's see, 8 gig SD card. That should be full of games. Yeah, main gripe about this though is the mini USB, because it comes with a cable obviously, but barely one has that cable nowadays. It's just not that convenient. Stick this guy off to the side. Ooh, almost forgot. Comes with some fun little earbuds. I'm gonna have to mess with those later. Now it's time for the Powkiddy V90. This guy, I can already tell you right off the bat, is way more bang for your buck. I think that this one actually has a few more games, like it has Link's Awakening Deluxe and a couple games that this one doesn't have. But as far as quality goes, I'd probably pick this one. But before I get ahead of myself here, let's just get the Powkiddy out of the box. So it comes with stuff that says, when shutting it down, be sure to select the power option in the menu before shutting down with the button, kind of like, Windows computer. Just all this, which, that's not English, but, let's move that off to the side. On the box of Powkiddy here, you have USB port, all the buttons, 64-bit OS, Game Boy, arcade, etc. And then here's the colors you get in black, yellow, or red, and this one's the red one, obviously. Show me your treasures. Alright, so here's the Powkiddy V90. It strangely resembles a Game Boy Advance SP, which, I sort of have one. Yeah, I was in the middle of shell swapping this and just never got around to finishing it. So, we're missing half the Game Boy, but you can see what I was talking about. We don't have the screen here, but it's basically the same. Oops. So if you like analog sticks, this little X350 game player guy, you know, it's got those compared to the Powkiddy, but they're just awful. Now the Powkiddy has stereo speakers built into the device, while for this guy just includes some little nasty earbuds. It just has one mono speaker in the back, which kind of goes into your hand while you're playing. It's kind of weird, but let's go on the Powkiddy here. So you have a volume wheel, a little slider, and a lanyard loop. You have dual shoulder buttons, and then this little battery door here. You can upgrade the battery to one's a larger capacity. This is just like a Nokia phone battery. And then you have a SD card with 16 gigs of storage, which is a little more, so you can add more games to this if you have some. Oops. But let's just compare the initial startup experience of these, because the Powkiddy, I've already had a little bit of time with these just to get some impressions. This one's disgusting. It's just not great. I love the Powkiddy though. The Powkiddy's really nice. So let's just turn these both on. So the Powkiddy, I already have a little skin over the emulator. It's like a little Zelda themed one with little hearts as the battery percentage. It's a pretty cool looking skin, and you have all your emulators right here with a little Zelda background that you can kind of sort of see. You know, it's pretty cool, and then you can bumper through the menus. There's some homebrew games, settings. You know, it's pretty cool, and you can swap the whole operating system if you really wanted to with some community stuff. This, on the other hand, it's not great. Basically, the games, which are the only things that you're going to want on this console, are under this menu. So basically, to get to where you are here right off the bat, you got to go to Game. But aside from Game, there's Videos, Music, Ebook, Folder, Calculator, Pictures, Calendar, Recorder, and Setting. You're not going to use any of those, I guarantee you. But let's see how the calculator works just for fun. 7 times 9 equals 63. That is true. The calculator works. So if you just want a $40 calculator, you know, I say this one's pretty good. Now for all the shade that I'm giving this one, the screen is actually pretty good. Like these are both IPS displays, so the viewing angles are pretty good on them. Like it just doesn't go to straight black. This one is a little worse than the Powkiddy though. See the Powkiddy. Oh yeah. So the viewing angle is pretty bad on this one, but the colors are good. So how do I get out of here? Alright, so that's how you get out of there. Bumper for whatever reason. But yeah, so let's check out the games on this guy here. Alright, so as far as consoles go, let's get the Powkiddy over there. We have Super Famicom, Mega Drive, Famicom or NES, MAME, Game Boy Advance, and Game Boy Color. Now, the Powkiddy, these both come preloaded with these emulators and games, but I'm pretty sure you could add some more games or emulators on both of them. The Powkiddy comes with Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Famicom, Super Famicom, Game Gear, Master System, Mega Drive, PlayStation, Neo Geo Pocket, WonderSwan, PCE, Temper Emulator, whatever that is, Arcade, CPS, Neo Geo, and MAME. The Powkiddy already comes with a ton more emulators and options. But this one has a few ROMs. Ooh. Okay, it's back. But this one has a few ROMs that the Powkiddy doesn't have. But in all fairness, you can add ROMs. You know, it's super easy. Only one that I noticed was Link's Awakening Deluxe, but you know, it's fine. But to get into raw performance here, just gonna load up Super Mario Bros. On both of them just to show. Yeah, so the thing that I already don't like about this one, the Game Player X350, is how it stretches the 4:3 aspect ratio into 16:9, so the game loses some of its original look and everything just becomes wider. And this display isn't terrible, but whenever you have the Powkiddy right next to it, it becomes apparent how it's pretty bad. And the Powkiddy, this one really doesn't have any options, as far as I can tell, for scaling. Screen size, oh, full screen. Oh no, I take that back. There are some options for scaling. Let's relaunch that. Alright, so now we both have them scaled to their original aspect ratio, so that looks a little better, but the screen on the Powkiddy is still phenomenally better. Also, let's just take a listen to the speakers. Audio is a little bit choppy, a little bit warbly, like sounds like it's having some issues. Alright, let's listen to the Powkiddy speakers. Alright, we don't have to worry about that. But yeah, the Powkiddy speakers, no, they're stereo, and I don't think this is one of the games that takes use of the stereo speakers. But either way, the speakers are way clearer, way louder, and this one just sounds like it's having emulation issues. So next criteria is screen tearing. So let's just see if we can see any of that on this one. Definitely feels like it's running slower than normal. And there is a fair bit of screen tearing if you watch any of the geometry, like the blocks or the pipes or whatever. The pipes, they judder behind a little bit. I'm not too sure how well it's going to show up on camera. But even with NES emulation, this one struggles really badly. Alright, now it's the Powkiddy's turn. It's honestly just night and day with the Powkiddy, and the Powkiddy has a lot of other systems, but this is just one that I chose. Alright, so the Powkiddy feels like it's running the game at full speed. The display feels a lot more sharp, and the color's just way better and stuff. I don't see... Okay, so there's a little bit of screen tearing on the pipes, but it's not really noticeable unless you're looking for it, but the game is running phenomenally smoother. But yeah. A big thing for me whenever you look at the devices is just the I/O on them. So they obviously both have power switch, SD card, headphone jack, but USB-C on a device that's $40 is, I want to say mind-blowing, but I guess it's becoming more and more affordable. This is, I want to call this mind-blowing, but I also want to call this unacceptable, if you know what I mean. Like, everything's moving to Type-C, and they just throw that on there. The Type-C is super nice, you know, it's the same port that, some Beats earbuds, or a Nintendo Switch, or a lot of Samsung phones. It's becoming, you know, the port to go to even like MacBooks, iPads, you know. So this is just phenomenal to have compared to the little abomination right here. Okay, so immediately there's some surprising results with Super Mario World. So the Powkiddy, which I expected to do much better than this one, has some black artifacting in the sky, and aside from that, it doesn't seem to be any issues. It's just a little strange considering that this one's just fine. But at the same time, this one doesn't seem to be running at full speed, especially if you take a listen to the audio. Alright, yeah, I feel like that's enough of a comparison between the two. You know, just some random handhelds that I found for cheap online. Which one would I recommend between the two for the price? Obviously, the Powkiddy's way better. Even though it has some emulation problems, like this texture not loading in properly or whatever, the audio, the battery life, and just the quality of the unit with the Type-C and just the clamshell form factor, I just feel like it's a way better device. Now, if you want a Switch Lite type form factor with thumbsticks and all that other stuff, this ain't it. You can find some other ones online, I'm sure, but this one, with its spinning disco DJ thumbsticks, this isn't the one I'd recommend, at least, but the Powkiddy is definitely the winner for me. So if you take anything from the video, it's that if you got 40 bucks to spend on a handheld, get the Powkiddy. You know, more different type of video. If you want to see more like this, drop a like, drop a comment, let me know. And thanks for watching. That's all for me. I'm out. Peace.